What's up everybody, Faldrin Rowan here. Today I am going to be doing a new series where I'm going over each hero and explaining how they work, some ins and outs of them, starting with their abilities, going over their equipment, going over their closet, and then of course going over some tips and tricks to help make things a little bit easier. Alright, so today, in honor of the 1-year anniversary, we're doing Escanor the One. Alright, so with his skills, his first skill is going to be Super Slash. This is the one that allows him to do absolutely obscene amounts of damage early on, as early as level 1. But that's not necessarily the ideal time to use it, so let me explain. So inflicts flood damage equal to 200% of attack on one enemy. Now 200% isn't that ridiculous, but once you factor in the flood damage, this is where you start to see those huge numbers. Escanor go bonk. So flood, 0.8% additional damage for every percent of remaining HP on self. Now, at 100% HP, you are getting 0.8 times 100, so you're getting an additional 80% damage on top of that. Now, I could sit here and do the math and explain everything here for you, but it's much simpler if you think of it this way. More health equals more bonk. More bonk equals more kill. More kill equals happy Escanor, and happy Escanor equals a very satisfied Merlin. Wait, hold on. Maybe not that last part, but the rest of it holds true. The more health Escanor has, the more damage he's going to do. It's a very simple, straightforward concept that seems more difficult than it really is. Of course, when you get that to level 2, the base damage goes to 300. And then when you get that to level 3, the base damage goes to 500. So it scales ridiculously. And this is where you see the turn 1 one-shots. But what the actually smart thing to do is to hold it for turn 3. And while keeping Escanor's health as high as possible. So you want to pair him with someone like a Gowther and a healer so that you can keep his health high. The reason being, you want that additional damage, but if you get to the level 3, that's where you get that pure 580% attack on one single target that you will absolutely blow them up. So let me show you what that looks like. Alright, so we have right here Super Slash 500% with full health. Now, if this was turn 3, it would be better, but since it's not. So right there, 307k. Ridiculous. His stats increase again on turn 2. What do we got here? 313k. Now, his stats increase all the way up. This is the peak, right? This is where you're reaching the 1, where he has hit his most strong state. So now let's do this one more time. 349k. So right there you can see a much better example of why it's better to wait. You use that 3 turn, and when you're at turn 3, that's when you're at your peak damage. So alright, let's exit out of here and cover his next ability, which I can never remember the names because I just replace everything with bonk, because it's pretty much all you need to know. He's a single target, destroy everything character. Supernova. So 240, 360, and 600% of attack on one enemy. Pretty straightforward. There's nothing overly good about this one, but again, same idea. If you save, I use Supernova while I'm waiting for Super Slash. So you waltz up, 600 attack at max, which actually makes it really, really strong, and it's a 2 wave, which is nice. So it pokes and then does damage in a second burst. So if it doesn't look like it's doing a ton right off the bat, that's why. So the scaling on this is also ridiculous. So you go from 360 at 2 to 600 at 3, and then on 1 you're at 240, 360, 600. And then of course we're going to cover what his ultimate is. This is Divine Sword Escanor. So this does damage equal to 936% of attack. This is mine because he's at 4 out of 6. So At base, it's a little bit lower, obviously. But 930%, 36% of attack on one enemy and inflicts additional death damage. So, death, 55% of final damage as additional damage. Random damage on death. So, this is a little bit confusing, and it's not going to really show too well on a single target here, but when you use your ultimate, just like how his supernova has 2 stages, this has 2 stages if you do it correctly. So if you're able to walk up and you do your super cool animation here, you kill this guy, right? Say he's the first enemy you kill. It does a second wave of damage. There we go. So this is a huge, huge, huge counter. And this is my first tip here. Run this into Goddess Elizabeth, right? Because anything with a reanimation, that's not Melascula, because you can't kill the hero that Melascula revives. But with Goddess Elizabeth, she's going to revive. But it's not going to matter. You're going to one-shot the hero. They're going to die. Elizabeth's unique is going to proc. And then the second tick happens. So you can actually one-shot characters even with Goddess Elizabeth in place. Completely nullifying her unique, which is, in and of itself, awesome. So yeah, this is mine. He's at level 80. He is a 4 out of 6 with his ultimate. So next it's going to be over 1,000. And then the death damage is going to be 70% once I level it up again. So the more you level him up, the more initial damage, but it's kind of like an earthquake. You get that first one, and then you get an aftershock. That's his damage. But if it kills someone and there is no revive, that damage then bursts over to another unit at random. So I was just doing the tower, and this came in handy really well, because what it did was it actually bursted a hidden target. So let me show you what I mean. So over in the Tower of Trials, I was doing what battle was it? I believe, oh, it was the boss battle versus Hauser. So I bonked with the ultimate. I killed the Gilthunder that was there, and because there's 3 units, Griamore wasn't dead yet, so I killed the Gilthunder to get rid of the taunt, and then the death damage dealt to Hauser, knocking him almost completely dead without me even revealing him. So that death damage is dealt randomly, but if you kill one target, that second wave of damage is going to burst on somebody else as well. So even if they don't have an Elizabeth, it's still an overpowered thing. Even though they're not coming back to life, you still kill that one target, and then you knock them down a second time. Or you kill the one target and you burst a random target. And it may not kill the second target, but that burst is huge. But yeah, you can get a 2-for-1 with your ultimate if it's timed perfectly. Like, what I should have done, and I known that's how it worked because I just figured this out myself, is I was running with Roxy because I'm running an all-human comp. So I used the ability that killed the Hidden Hauser was Roxy's AoE. So this is going to be tip 2. Pair the one Escanor with heroes that have AoE. The reason behind this is that they're able to weaken people, so when Escanor uses his ult and kills one, then the damage bursts a second target. That second target is already weakened, which would allow you to kill 2-for-1 with a single ultimate. It's pretty much the only way you're going to get a 2-for-1 with Escanor, since he's all single target. But that is something to keep in mind as well. When you use AoE, it gives that additional burst. Another thing is a hero that I am now starting to see the value in, who is really, if you look at just tier lists alone, is ranked really low in my opinion, is going to be Holy Knight Gilthunder. Leave me alone. Holy Knight Gilthunder, because of his unique. Increases speed attribute allies defense by 60%, which is absolutely massive. And with the one being a speed hero, it increases that way. So the gear that I have on the one is attack and defense gear. Let's hop over to the equipment tab. So I have attack and defense full UR gear with engraved for Escanor. So his attack is just a hair under 13k right now. HP just under 120, and then his defense is at 8.5, just about, or 8.44. So we give him the... In the back, we have Gil Thunder, giving that 60% boost. Now, combine that with Tarmiel's Grace. When taking damage during the enemy's turn, the hero recovers HP equal to 150% of defense at the start of the ally's turn. So, how these two work in concert, or these three work in concert: you boost Escanor's defense by that 60% burst. Then, when you take damage as the one, you're able to heal back for 150% of your defense at the start of your turn. And remember, you want the highest defense possible on your Escanor so that he's doing the most damage possible. So using those three in tandem, you've created a self-healing Escanor who also has a pretty decent amount of lifesteal. When he hits, he gains a lot of health back. So you combine that, and yeah, they may be able... Oh, I guess it's only 12%. Well, I lied. It's really not... It feels more than that, though. I don't know how to describe that, but it feels good. Let's see. What is Zeldris's? 12%. Okay. So yeah, I think Zeldris personally has a lot of lifesteal. So 12% must be pretty good. It doesn't seem good. Well, yeah, I guess 100% would be would be ridiculous. For reference, let's check Lost Vein. Okay, so Lost Vein has 24.5% because of the additional cosmetics that I have on him. Right now, with base cosmetics and just the Affinity Axe unlocked, he's sitting at 12% lifesteal. So you're getting your lifesteal, and then you're getting back that really, really boosted healing thanks to Tarmiel's Grace. So if this is, again, if you have Tarmiel, you may not necessarily have them based on polls, but combine those three together, and that becomes extremely potent for self-preservation if you can't use a healer. So some of the things in the tower don't allow for restoration skills, but that's not a restoration skill, it is a grace, so that applies automatically and keeps the one pretty high health so that he can deal, obviously, the more damage. Alright, let's cover his closet real quick. Alright, so right now for outfits, he's got the one you get for free, the onesie, which not a fan of, to be honest, and then SR and ultra rare. Then he's got Daddy Santa. He's got this one. Honestly, looks like a gladiator, but it's kind of a play on his regular armor, which I like the most. This is a chef uniform, and of course the barbarian uniform as well. So what I would say, let me see the stats here. So picked the wrong day to not wear my glasses. So 180, 1% crit resistance, and 5% crit defense. 180, 3% crit resistance, 3% crit defense. 180, 4% crit resistance, 1% crit defense. 180, 5%? 5%, yep, 5% and 2%. So these are obviously, you want to get the ultra rare gear as much as possible. So if we're going to go ultra rare, I would say, again, the best are going to be the Invincible Avatar. Duh. The default. Oh no, that is called the Invincible Avatar. Okay, I'm losing my mind. The One of Winter, the Holy Knight of Pride, Invincible Chef, and Barbarian Warrior. Now, yes, that's going to be a lot of diamonds right there. That's 30, 60, 90, 120 diamonds, or way too much money to get the full sets. But hey, if you want to go big, go big. Now, to break down weapons, what you're going to want to do is, this is the one you get for free just for having the hero affinity maxed out. This is actually going to be a lot stronger than the Sacred Axe Rita of the one. So they both have a 120. I've enhanced this one a little bit, but 120 attack regular, and this is 4% crit damage. This one has 6% crit damage, 1% crit chance increase, as well as the 120, but I've enhanced it so that's at 160 right now. So again, if you're going to do the weapons are going to be the UR weapons, because this gives a ton of pierce and crit damage and a little bit of crit chance as well. and this one's going to give you that crit chance and the crit damage. So those are your top 5 options for there, and then you're just going to ditch Rita, which seems wrong because aside from Merlin, I think Rita is the other love of Escanor. And then for the 5 cosmetics, it's pretty straightforward. You get the 4 from the equipment, the 4 from the sets rather, and then the default. So nothing really special there, but if you had to rank them, the chef's hat is actually coming out as the best. So if you have to choose one, because you don't have all the diamonds, which, believe me, I totally get. The chef's set seems to be pretty much the best overall. If you're going to spend the money on it too, that's probably the one that I would buy. It isn't, however, the one that I would want to wear, which is really frustrating. Because if I'm going to end up buying all the cosmetics. Like, look, I've already admitted that I spend way too much money on these things. But what I'm going to end up getting is obviously Santa Escanor, because that's a badass look for Christmas. This is my favorite by far. Unfortunately, it's also his weakest ultra rare weapon, and I don't like the hair that goes with it, but the armor in and of itself is dope. And then you have this is my favorite cosmetic, because it's like the hair and the beard. I don't know, the beard I like a lot. I wish I could, what I would do is I would do the Santa thing with the beard. So give me the Santa look, but without the hat, give him the beard instead, and then that's like scary sexy Santa, which is like everyone's nightmare, right? No one wants sexy Santa, because I saw what Mummy was doing with Santa Claus, and if this is what Santa Claus looked like, good God. Now this is terrifying, yes, but honestly I'm just not a huge fan of the chef line. But it is probably his best altogether, so if you're going to buy it, buy this one. It's the best for the stats, and then just run his default look. Alright, so that breaks down Escanor's abilities, a couple of tips and tricks, as well as his closet. The last tip that I will leave you with... Oh, duh. I forgot to explain his unique. So the way that his unique works... don't worry, this is only the first one in the series. We'll get better as time goes on. So it applies 1 buff effect, which increases all stats by 6% at the start of the ally's turn. When there are 3 stacks of this effect, the hero removes all debuffs and becomes debuff immune for 1 turn. After that, the stack buffs are removed one by one until only 1 effect is left, adding buffs to the stack again. So the way that this works is he's ramping up, and that's why turn 3, each turn he gets an additional 6%. So at turn 3, he has an 18% stat boost, and that's why I recommend holding on to your attacks until turn 3 and try and keep him full health until that point. This is where the Sariel and Gil Thunder thing comes in, because he's able to regain a lot of that health. Pairing him with somebody with healing will also keep that keep him really healthy, so that come turn 3, hopefully his abilities are leveled up, and you'll be able to just bonk them straight on the head for a ton of damage. You also don't have to worry about removing the debuffs, because he just removes them on his own. So even if they run a common counter that people have been talking about is using Red Gowther, because Red Gowther's leveled up skill disables attack skills. So, and because Escanor only has attack skills, that doesn't let him attack. But it doesn't matter, because you're saving everything to turn 3, where you can't be stunned, you can't be stopped, and you are there to do one thing, and that thing is to bonk. Alright, so I hope this is a breakdown of Escanor. If you have any more questions for me, leave them in the comment section below. I hope this was a helpful video. I tried to put a little bit of thought into it, which is more than I usually do. But thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.